How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to 14P Fantasy. Today, we are talking trade targets, Week 8. I am your host, Justin Wright, and as always, pretty much at this point, I am joined by Marco Enriquez. What's going on, man?
Not too much, man. Excited to talk some trades. I feel like this is the part of the season where people actually are interested in trades, even if they're not typically like trade people. So this is a fun time of the year.
This is it. I mean, this is when if you suck, like if your team is just had terrible luck, everybody in your league is like, man, if I just mix it up a little bit, like we'll be back in this. Like that's where we're at.
Exactly.
I am in that spot in a couple leagues where I'm just like, you know what? You have to do something because you can't just sit there and be, 2-5. Like,
if you could turn your team around for weeks 8, 9, 10, you can get your team in a good place, even if you're in the bottom half of the league right now, that's why everyone's looking to do something.
Exactly. So we got some guys here. We got 4 running backs. 3 we are looking to buy. 1 we're trying to move on from.
Yep.
So first on the list, and if you watched last week, it looks familiar. It's Elijah Mitchell again. Exactly. So what do you have on Elijah Mitchell? Why are you targeting him right now?
Well, I mean, he looked amazing last week. Obviously, the 49ers offense was kind of weird near the second half of that game. But I think he's made it really, really evident that he is the early down back, at least there. He's the goal line back there. So everyone talking about Jeff Wilson's coming back. He is going to come back, and he will have value because he's going to definitely fill in as like the hasty role. So in PPR leagues, Jeff Wilson is an okay player. But I think because of what Elijah Mitchell's done and how this team values him right now, he is going to be the early down guy, and his schedule is amazing. So I'm locked in on Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, the schedule is the huge thing for me. I mean, he's a buy. If you're losing, you're winning. It doesn't matter. You want Elijah Mitchell right now. I mean, last week with Hasty back, he saw 75% of the running back touches. And then the week before their bye week, Trey Sermon played like two snaps. So
and I think the other thing too is the Colts let up like the 28th most points to the running back position. And in his first healthy game, he put up 17.7 against them. And he did it mostly in the first half.
Yeah, no, Elijah Mitchell's been fantastic. I think he's going to be, like you said, I don't worry about Jeff Wilson really. So as always, let's throw out some names here.
Okay,
and we got some names, and we get repetitive in this because we get locked in on a few guys, so you'll hear them throughout this episode. But another guy we had as a huge buy early in the season, Michael Pittman. If you need a running back right now, are you okay moving Michael Pittman for Elijah Mitchell?
Yeah, so here's what I would do. I would do the deal for Elijah Mitchell because a lot of people need running backs. Most running backs have been banged up.
Yeah.
But your first offer to the Elijah Mitchell owner should be Michael Pittman for Elijah Mitchell plus something else. And if it gets rejected, then just take Elijah Mitchell and you'll probably be happy.
Exactly. And we didn't even touch on it. The playoff schedule for Elijah Mitchell, guys, it's unbelievable. You're looking at Atlanta, Tennessee, Houston.
I mean, if you have Elijah Mitchell before the playoffs, week 11 to 17, his schedule is amazing.
Yep. If you have Elijah Mitchell and you make it to the championship, he's going to win people leagues because he plays Houston and he's going to run for 200 yards. Yeah. So, all right, one more package here. Jalen Waddle and Michael Carter for Elijah Mitchell.
It's close, but I'm going to go Elijah Mitchell here. Yeah, so I would make that deal for Elijah Mitchell. I think Jalen Waddle is a very good player, and I think he'll continue to see a lot of targets, but Devontae Parker is coming back this week. So I think that could throw a wrench into a little bit of what the Dolphins are doing. So I'm going to give the edge to Elijah Mitchell because I like his schedule the rest of the way, and I like the solid running back in a deal is usually the side I want.
Yeah, I want the package here. I like Michael Carter. He's been good even without Zach Wilson. Now they brought in Mr. Elite, Joe Flacco. So,
oh gosh,
that's a tough sentence to say, but I like the package. I think Waddle will hold on to a good chunk of that target share. All right, number 2, James Conner, and this is the one guy on this list we are looking to trade away, and it's tough because he probably has to be the secondary piece in a more likely of like a bigger deal, but you can sell somebody on him being, a back end RB2 at this point in the year, but I want him off my roster. It's too touchdown dependent. He was supposed to be in a smash spot last week, and he found the end zone. That's fine, but it's not something I want to bank on. I'm just not really sold on James Conner unless there was an injury to Chase Edmonds, which, he's been kind of banged up. And even then, James Conner has just not been the guy people were hoping him to be.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Good input.
I completely agree. Anytime a running back specifically is getting, a decent amount of looks, a decent amount of touches, but their entire fantasy relevance is completely inflated by touchdowns only, get rid of that player. Get rid of them immediately.
Yep, exactly. So we got 2 names here, and again, these are 1-for-1 deals. You probably can get more if you move them in a larger package. But would you rather take Devonta Smith or James Conner?
I think that's a perfect line. I'm going to take Devonta Smith there.
So am I. Yeah, I would gladly do that. As long as I'm not sitting there with James Conner as my starting running back, I'm happy to move him. And then the second guy here, very similar to Devonta Smith, actually, as far as production goes, Jacoby Myers.
I really like Jacoby Myers. I think he's going to shake this touchdown thing soon. So I'm going to go Jacoby Myers here.
He needs to score. So he's the anti-James Conner. As far as touchdown production, he's the
anti-James Conner. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you. I want Myers. I just as long as James Conner is not my RB2, I'll flip him in these deals for sure.
Right, and unless you've been decimated by injuries, he really shouldn't be. He should be RB3 or lower.
Yep, exactly. All righty. Our guy, David Montgomery.
We're Bears fans.
He's on the list for the 3rd time in a row. I don't care. I want David Montgomery. The schedule is everything. Yep. The Bears, we just got shellacked 35-3 or 38-3, whatever the hell the score was. And they still ran for 100 yards. Khalil Herbert was heavily utilized, even in the worst possible game script. The worst possible game script you could imagine. And right now, I guarantee you the David Montgomery owner is sitting there thinking, man, Khalil Herbert's going to take a lot of work. And he might take some, but I don't care. They know what they have in David Montgomery. He is the guy.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think Khalil Herbert is actually a good player. So I think Montgomery, instead of seeing 20 to 25 touches a game, is going to be more around 18 to 20 touches a game.
Yeah.
But that's fine, especially with the schedule that we're going to talk about in a minute here. But I think him and Khalil Herbert could sustain some value. But David Montgomery is the one in this backfield that you want if you get to choose between the two.
Yep. Yeah. There are, I can already tell you now, there are owners panicking in leagues I'm in. They're like, man, Khalil Herbert, he looks great, guys. Montgomery's, no, it's fine. He's going to be fine. You mentioned it, though, the schedule. After the bye week, they have Baltimore, which is not ideal. But then it's Detroit, Arizona, Green Bay, Minnesota, Seattle, the New York Giants. A lot of games where he's going to get pass catching work. He's going to get to run the ball.
Yep.
He's just going to be
a lot of what made up his end of season stretch last year.
Exactly. And I do think it's worth saying, if you have a losing record, are you trading for David Montgomery right now? If you're sitting 3-4 or worse.
No, definitely not. This isn't one of the trades we were going to talk about initially, but if you only got 1 or 2 losses right now and you have Khalil Herbert, go trade him for David Montgomery if the person's willing.
Nobody's taking that. There's no way.
And I would package Khalil Herbert with some other wide receiver and go get David Montgomery, because they could be panicking. If you know that they're crap, he's going to get a 50-50 split. He won't. So go do that.
Oh, I thought you were saying 1-for-1. I was like,
oh, no. No, I mean, no one's going to do a 1-for-1, but
it's man,
running backs on the same team.
Yeah, it's going to go really well.
Right.
No. So, okay, I'm with you. All right, 2 packages here. Melvin Gordon and Devonta Smith or David Montgomery, if you're a winning team.
If you're a winning team, I am trading Melvin Gordon and Devonta Smith. I think Melvin Gordon's going the other way. It's slower than people were hoping for, but we kind of expected that in the offseason. The J.K. Dobbins treatment is kind of what Javonte Williams is getting, but by week 10, Javonte could take over completely, or at least 60%. And so I'm going to go ahead and give up Melvin Gordon, and Devonta Smith's fine, but he's similar to the James Conner we were talking earlier. I'm okay giving away that value.
Yep. No, I agree with you as well. And then David Montgomery or Chase Claypool and Tony Pollard.
Oh, I'm sending Chase Claypool and Tony Pollard instantly. I don't know who would accept it, but if somebody in your league is willing to, do that.
People are high on Tony Pollard, and I get he's been good.
He's fine.
Yeah, I just no.
I mean,
I'm
I
not.
would say he's a good player. Fantasy wise, though, he isn't going to do the trick.
He doesn't get the workload. If he had the workload, he'd be an RB1. I don't think there's any
Exactly.
question about that, but he's not gonna. So
Yep.
what are you gonna do? All right. Last one on the list. And this one is expensive.
Buy high.
Yeah, this is the definition of a buy high, the most counterintuitive trade strategy that has ever existed. Buy him at his peak because I do think it gets better. Like he's going to win people leagues. If you are a winning team, a losing team, it doesn't really matter. He's a guy you can go and trade for that is instantly going to improve your team. Even though you're going to have to give up
bye week now.
Past this bye week, and even though you're going to have to give up a crap ton to get him, if you do manage to make the playoffs, you get Houston, the New York Jets, and the New England Patriots.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, you're pretty much giving up almost anybody 1-for-1 for James Robinson, right? Like he feels to me, if we were redrafting today, he'd probably be a first round pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
He should. I mean, he should be.
Right, exactly. So, all right, we got two packages here: Antonio Gibson and Kenny Gainwell for James Robinson.
You guys know I love Antonio Gibson.
Yeah,
and I like Kenny Gainwell's talent, but I would do this. And while we were prepping for the show, I suggested this one, and I actually offered it while we were prepping for the show. I offered Antonio Gibson, Kenny Gainwell, and Jarrett Patterson for James Robinson, and I just got it.
Attaboy. Hell yeah. Is that what the text was?
Yep.
Checking. Hell yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. That one is possible for everybody that's going to see it and go, nobody's going to do that trade. It happened.
Yeah, it did.
Last one.
Well, and we should preface really quick. Kenny Gainwell, if you missed it, Miles Sanders has got an ankle injury. He could miss, anywhere from 1 to 5 weeks. He could miss more than that even. Yeah. So he's immediately going to gain value, and he plays Detroit. So if you can play on that with someone who's looking for a running back this week, go ahead and sell.
Yeah, no, exactly. If you guys have not heard that news, there it is. Last package here. Elijah Mitchell, who we're also trying to trade for actively right now, and Michael Pittman for James Robinson. This one feels team specific. Like if you need depth, I would take the package.
Right. Like if those guys are probably starting for you, even in a flex or a flex 2 spot every week, then you can't do it. But if one of those guys is going to be on your bench more likely than not every week, then go for it. Because James Robinson's the ceiling play.
He automatically elevates your lineup. But yeah, if you are forced into starting, and not even forced, you get to start Elijah Mitchell and Michael Pittman every week, then keep them. Like that's where, again, it's team specific. Nothing is like one size fits all for every league, every team, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah. So, well, and let's answer it. Just if you just hear those players in a vacuum, what are you thinking, Justin? In a vacuum, I want James Robinson. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. Yes. Yeah. So that is important, but yeah, it's just if you need the depth, don't do that. Right. Exactly. All right, everybody. That is all we have for you today. If you have other trade questions or whatever else, any kind of fantasy question in week 8, drop us a comment. We will answer as many as we can throughout the week. As always, you can find me over on Twitter at Justin_14P. Catch Marco at Marco_14P. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.